I am an African American. I'm from South America. I'm from a little island called San Andres, which is off the coast of Costa Rica, Nicaragua. I was a very inquisitive kid, so I got into a lot of trouble. But one thing that was constant was the value of education that my mother instilled in me. She always said that she couldn't give me much. The best she could give me was an education. Poverty is everywhere. Back home, it's not so much the issue of racism, it's more so of classism. And so the opportunities are very limiting for students in the educational setting. I never felt the classism. I mean, we knew that we were poor, we knew that we had limited resources, but it never felt like it was some type of suppression from government as a kid growing up. Whereas here, you can hear those conversations with students in the classroom. You can hear kids having those conversations on the playground. I don't think I can compare it to how a child in America feels when they experience that level of discrimination or that level of hate just by the mere fact that their skin looked different. My island back in the 80s and 90s, it was a hub for drug trafficking. The aspiration that many of the youth had was to become drug traffickers. Thank goodness that's not the path that I chose. This group of missionaries came, they became friends with my mom, and they formed this relationship. And little that I know, they were in contact and communication with my mother, and all along she was trying to figure out how can I get my son out of this environment. And I remember coming home one day and she said, here's his passport, here's a ticket, you leave on Saturday. You go into Dallas, Texas. I knew that there was more to life than what I was living and experiencing. And it was a one-way ticket, by the way. So I came to Dallas. I ended up going to Paulin College, an HBCU, coming from a country where the vision of America was never black. To see people that look like me, it was like, okay, this is what America looks like. People that look like me, and they have different belief systems, cultural values. My senior year is when I experienced racism and realized this is not what America looks like. This is part of what America looks like. You always hear the stories, you see the stories, but it's different when you experience it yourself. Independent of my cultural heritage, where I'm from, the color of my skin is the first thing that people see. There is a history between race in this country, and so you have to be aware when we're in America. You are going to experience some of those treatments, and it's going to create feelings. So you have to remember who you are and what you are about. I remember my first year as a teacher. My class was the very last class in that hallway, and we were all bilingual. So parents were coming in to meet the teachers, and everybody was flocking towards the Spanish-looking teachers. And so I started to wave when I got in the hallway, and then actually walked down the hallway to start greeting some of their parents. Buenos días, ¿cómo están? And they're like, oh, I thought you were black. That's a beautiful reaction that I enjoy getting from people. And what that says to me is that if we take the time to know people on a personal level, understand their values, understand what they're about, and value them for who they are, what they contribute as a human being, and not what they look like. I think that's the celebration. That would be the celebration, right? There are people who look like you, there are people who look different than you, but their cultural values, their traditions are so rich, so vast, and so different. And it's important for you to get to know that and learn that, because it gives you a broader perspective about life, and it helps you understand what life is about, and it's not just about this piece of land that we are part of. Being black is to be human, and being black across the globe, across the world, is beautiful.